Hey minions, welcome to Crank It Up. This is the Postmortem for Game 29, featuring Itty Critter Grims versus Rockstar Ghosts, the battle of the number 1 and the number 4 seeds. If you've seen the results, then you know that Rockstar Ghosts won both games and will be advancing to the finals as the first named finalist. Unfortunately, this game broke my own bracket with me playing Rockstar Ghosts into the finals, and I am perfectly okay with that. I knew that was a possibility going in. I was going to have a dramatic tearing up of my bracket to show people that I didn't care, but I can't seem to find it, and I didn't want to print out another copy because I'm low on toner, so sorry about that. But I've said all along that we play every game to win. Smashness had Itty Critter Grims going into the finals, and he played them, and he beat them. I also had Itty Critter Grims going into the finals. The difference was, I was currently in first at the time, and I don't care about my bracket. I've said all along that we are a team of integrity, and if you have any concerns about that, I hope that this quells this forever, because I literally broke my own bracket while I was in first place. Not that I think I should be winning this tournament anyway. One, I can't, and two, I think it would be lame if I did, even though I've spent way too long with all of these teams. But I'm happy for Rockstar Ghosts. I love them. They were my number 2 seed after all. So for me, even though it's a battle of number 1 and number 4, it's a battle of number 1 and number 2 for me. So who would actually win? Why did I bet on Itty Critter Grims? Well, I don't think that the results tell the whole story. I'd like to play this matchup a few more times. I would have liked to have played it a few more times before actually recording this, but there simply wasn't time for it, and that's unfortunate. Because I do think that Itty Critter Grims would win more often than they lose, they just happen to lose these particular matches. They are the more consistent of the two teams. They have everything that you're looking for. They have deck searching, they have recursion, extra plays, a ton of power. The Rockstar Ghosts have many of these things. They don't have as strict recursion. They have more strict recursion than the Itty Critter Grims do, because they can recur minions or standard actions, whereas I can recur cards as the Gritty Critters. And they're two equally matched teams, but I think when it comes down to it, the Rockstar Ghosts have a little bit higher upside because they could attack you on multiple fronts, and they have VP farming. And VP farming definitely ended game 2, which ended up being the difference. If I don't win that base right there, and Shady Deal, maybe he comes back and solos the base on his turn completely, and therefore it's a completely different story, and he ends up winning. I think Rockstar Ghosts deserve it. They're a great team. They deserve to be in the finals. I'm just not saying that they're better than Itty Critter Grims. And like I said, I need to play the game a couple more times to see actually how that's going to pan out. For most of game 2, it looked like Itty Critter Grims were going to run away with it. If you read the log, you'll see that I talk about a moment where I was literally going to do nothing. I had 6 cards, and I didn't like my hand at all, and I was going to pass my turn. But I had a minion on every base, and I was basically waiting for him to break something so I could play Total Sellout. And he did. He broke City of Gold, which is good because I hate that base. So he gets it off the board, and then I draw 4 cards, 2 with each of my Total Sellouts, and now all of a sudden I have a good hand and can make something happen. I went from not playing anything and passing on my turn to soloing a base for 4 points and getting Cream Puff Man on a separate base to set it up. I've mentioned a lot how I prefer to keep Cream Puff Man off the scoring base because he's not that easy to bring out. Also, with Rainbow Rock being a threat to clashing with him, it's not that easy to replay him, and the more value I can get, the more pressure I can force, the better. And that ended up being very large. Ironically, the base was Kaiju Island, which Cream Puff Man would really help me break, but I had the perfect cards in order to make it happen, and that's what's so scary about Rockstar Ghosts, is that they can attack you on multiple fronts. They can add power in any number of ways. Extra plays with Guest Star, just a normal Goopy Burst. They can do the Dead Rise for a Haunting. They can do Power Ballad once or twice from the discard pile, depending on where it is at the start of the turn. They have so many tools. Itty Critter Grims have a lot of tools as well. They also have the VP farming. I think when I was counting the tools in my initial team video, the only thing that they can't do is actually destroy an action, which is funny because the Itty Critter Grims can. They have 2 different ways of doing it, although I think you'd rather axe the big bad wolf than destroy an action on a base, which is important against Rockstar Ghosts because they have Door to the Beyond and they have Hot Venue, 2 cards that are pretty important in different ways. Door to the Beyond is great burst potential, whereas Hot Venue is not as much power, it's only +1, but it's permanent and easy to trigger, and you also get extra cards, and the extra cards can absolutely loom large. So I like their tool set as well, and the ability to destroy those actions could work really well for Itty Critter Grims. I love both teams. I keep saying that, but I have to repeat it. And there's really not much else to say because normally I would talk about, why Rockstar Ghosts won and why Itty lost. But because I'm not completely confident in that result, and when I say confident, I mean that, we do best of 3 for a reason, but ultimately this is a smaller sample size. And we recognize that. And you'll see when we talk about the postmortem, because we go round by round, talking about round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4. When we get to round 4, we pretty much all agree that Itty, they play well. They didn't have the greatest tournament, especially in the earlier rounds, but they're still crazy. And if we ever have time to go back and revisit this matchup, I'd love to play it again from the Rockstar Ghost side, to play it from the Itty side. I'm a little disappointed that I never got to actually play my number 1 seed and the number one overall seed at all. I didn't get to play them in any of the previous rounds. I was needed in others. I had the most Rockstar Ghost experience, this being my 4th victory with them in the tournament, so it made sense that I would play them. It wouldn't feel right if all of a sudden I just switched teams halfway through. So yeah, that's why I'm playing Rockstar Ghosts. It's unfortunate. I know a lot of people had Itties to win, but we play the matchups and we have to play them with integrity and validity, and Rockstar Ghost won. They won according to the terms that we specified, which is why they are advancing. That's obviously going to impact a lot of brackets, but that's what March Smashness is about, playing the games and seeing what actually happens. Tomorrow we'll find out who the other finalist is. I'm excited for people to learn what that is. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's shut it down.